So my name is Tomashley. I'm a producer at TimeGate Studios. I've been with TimeGate since 2006, shortly after I graduated, and I pretty much am responsible for making sure that all of our projects get completed and shipped to a customer.
So, is a producer in a video game industry a project supervisor?
So it's a little bit of an umbrella role. It covers a lot of spectrums. So for example, producers are typically the ones that are handling a lot of the business side. So for example, contract negotiation, working with schedules and deadlines. But it also is very much about managing teams, managing people, managing expectations. So if people disagree about the kind of game that we're working on, or even more granular than that, if there's a specific feature, like we want to do a first-person shooter, no, we want to do a third-person shooter. Production is responsible for kind of culling all the information together and working with guys like Brett Norton, our game director, to establish these high-level directions and then turn that into action items for what can we do to actually execute on that idea. So in a lot of ways, production is the hub and spoke, if you will, for communication for the entire team, but also for managing expectations, managing deadlines, managing priorities. We cover a lot of things.
Do you specifically do conflict resolution and things like that?
Oh, absolutely. Fortunately at TimeGate we have a really good team that works well together. We don't have a lot of prima donnas or anything, but inevitably something comes up where either this person has an issue with this person, or more fundamentally, if say for example, if we're working with a contractor and there are issues there, then I'm generally the one that kind of steps in and takes a look at the situation and tries to understand, okay, what's going on, what can we be doing better, and then making recommendations for what we can do to kind of improve things. So very much production is a lot about problem solving on a day-to-day basis.
How long have you worked in the production side of the gaming industry?
Sure. So I've been production is kind of a tricky question as to what all is incorporated in that. At TimeGate specifically, we view quality assurance as part of the production department as well. So for example, I've been a QA tester for TimeGate for, I think it was 3 months, and then after that I got promoted into the production department. So I've been doing production work specifically for TimeGate for about 6 years now. And prior to that, I was interning in Austin as a production assistant for a small company called Critical Mass Interactive, and I was there for about 2.5 years. So when it's all said and done, I'd say I probably have about 7 or 8 years of production experience specifically in video games.
How would someone get into the production side? How would you prepare for it? What would a resume look like for a production, if you were applying for a production job?
Sure, so that's $1 million question, and it's very difficult to find good producers, good project managers. Part of the problem there is that there really isn't an established educational path, if you will, or experience path. And then I know one of the big complaints people have is that it's a catch-22. We want people with experience. Well, how do you get experience until you get into the industry? So what we look for specifically in our production department, we want to see people that can demonstrate that they can finish things, that they can commit. So a college degree is an excellent opportunity to do that. You can say, hey, I went out, I spent 4 years, I earned this. And specifically what kind of degree you get, it almost doesn't matter. What matters is that you completed something. Beyond that, we look for people that are extremely organized, attention to detail, that can communicate clearly in both written and in face-to-face conversation. And other than that, you have to be a gamer, right? You have to know what it takes to be a good game. You have to be able to dissect, even take games that are generally really well received and say, hey, there are some things here that they could have done a better job at, and you've got to be critical. That's essential. So being a gamer, playing games, doing internships, that's how I got my start. I interned in Austin, doing whatever you can. I was literally beating down the door at the very first Austin Game Developers Conference saying, hey, I'll work for free, just give me an opportunity. And then once you get that experience, and once you kind of establish yourself, whether it be through quality assurance or doing mod work, and that's the other thing that the industry, it's wonderful now. There's no barriers to entry anymore for doing things like mobile games or demos or even web apps. There's lots of games that are coming out that you play through the browser. So lots of ways to get that experience, but literally we just look for people that have a good head on their shoulders, that have demonstrated that they can complete stuff, and are big gamers.